We'll call the meeting to order at 7 o'clock. Roll call, please.
Mayor Bosbus.
Here.
Commissioner Bauer.
Here.
Commissioner Gage.
Here.
Commissioner Gary.
Here.
Commissioner Lynn.
Here.
Commissioner Simmons. Here. Commissioner Schwarty. Here.
Okay, we're all here. Please stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you very much. We'd ask those with cell phones if they would please put them on vibrate or turn them off. We would appreciate it. Item number 1, Police Officers Association of Michigan award to Sergeant Mickey Lapine. Chief John Riley is coming to the microphone, and Mickey. Is it blue? Yep.
Okay. Mayor, Commission, I appreciate the opportunity to recognize Officer Lapine's achievement that was awarded to him last month.
Oh, Chief, would you go to the microphone or pull it over there by you? That would be good.
On December 3rd, 2014, the Sault Ste. Marie Police Department was dispatched to a domestic assault in progress. At one point during the incident, a male subject was holding a female victim on the porch of a residence. The suspect held a large machete-type knife over the victim and began to make motions toward the victim. Sergeant Mickey Lapine recognized that immediate action had to be taken in order to save the victim from serious and potentially life-threatening injuries. Sergeant Lapine fired his duty weapon, incapacitating the suspect and allowing the victim to escape. The suspect was treated for injuries and is currently facing attempted murder charges. And the reason why we're here this evening, and the plaque should be on the screen right now. On May 21st, 2015, Sergeant Lapine was the recipient of one of the Police Officers Association of Michigan 2015 Officer of the Year Awards for his actions on December 3rd, 2014. On behalf of the Commission, the administration, and staff, I'd like to congratulate Sergeant Lapine on his receiving this honor, recognizing his actions and dedicated service to this community. We are proud to have Mickey on staff in the Sault Ste. Marie Police Department.
Great, thank you. Thanks again, Sergeant Lapine. Yeah. Certainly for a job well done, and just briefly, just a few comments. The Commission certainly and the citizens of Sault Ste. Marie, the job that you do and the officers continue to do daily, we appreciate, and thank you from our hearts, and certainly from keeping our community as safe as it is, because we feel we have a safe community, and certainly the officers and the fire departments and the rest of those people that do those kind of valor type jobs that every day that keep us safe, we certainly appreciate it. So keep up the good work, and I'm sure we'll see you again in December.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Your Honor,
Yes,
we've
Commissioner
never
Lynn.
been this protected in our lives right now.
Thank you. Thank you all for coming too. The second item.
Yes.
The second item, proclamation declaring May and June as Let's Get Moving Community Challenge. And I believe Heather Hemming is here. And if you want to meet me at the podium, Heather, we appreciate it. We have a proclamation to present to Heather, declaring May and June 2015 as Sault Ste. Marie Kickoff Events Days for the Let's Get Moving Community Challenge. And whereas the City of Sault Ste. Marie encourages its citizens to actively participate in opportunities and services offered by the city, such as community walks or other forms of non-motorized transportation. And whereas from going for daily walks to being active as a family, it is important for every citizen to play an active role in being physically active to prevent and reduce the risk of developing chronic diseases such as diabetes, heart disease, stroke, and cancer. And whereas the City of Sault Ste. Marie will celebrate the kickoff event for the 2015 Let's Get Moving Community Challenge on Saturday, June 6, 2015. And whereas during the months of May and June, we join with the Building a Healthier Community Coalition to encourage active living, healthy eating, and tobacco-free living. Now, therefore, I, Anthony G. Bosmas, Mayor of the City of Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan, do hereby proclaim the month of May and June 2015 as Sault Ste. Marie Kickoff Events Days for the Let's Get Moving Community Challenge. And when does there ever hearing to set my hand and cause the seal of the City of Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan to be affixed this first day of June 2015, Anthony G. Bosmas, Mayor. Here you go, Heather. Congratulations, and if you'd like to talk to us a little bit about that, we'd appreciate it, and this is yours.
Good afternoon. My name is Heather Hemming. I'm a health educator for the Sioux Tribe. As Mayor Bospa said, we will be having a kickoff event for the 2015 Let's Get Moving Community Challenge. The walk will be led by the city manager and the commission. So it'll be on Saturday, June 6th. The walk will begin at Lake Superior State University at the Norris Center. We'll be meeting in front of the bell. The walk is approximately 1.7 miles there, and then we'll be turning around and coming back up, so it'll be about 3.4 miles. For those of you that cannot do the completed walk, you'll be able to do laps in the Norris Center, in the SAC, Student Activity Center. And this event is to encourage community members of Sault Ste. Marie to be more physically active and live healthier lifestyles. You do not have to register for the Let's Get Moving Challenge in order to participate, but we encourage you to do so. In order to register for the challenge, you need to visit our website, www.up4health.org. Once you go there, there's an icon you click on, and it'll direct you to our logging system called Challenge Runner. From there, you can continue logging. And the challenge starts on June 6th and it ends on August 1st. So we're very excited, and we want to thank the city manager and the commission for their participation in the walk and leading the walk, as well as Lake Superior State University for their continued support with our initiatives.
No, thank you very much, Heather,
Yep.
and good luck on the walk. And I know a number of us are signed up for any activities that we do through the 2 months count. So anyone have any questions of Heather? Commissioner.
I just have a
Corey.
few. What time does it start on Saturday?
It starts at 9 a.m. on Saturday, and if you want to get there at 8:30 and register for the challenge, we'll have a laptop set up so you can register on site as well.
Okay, and then do you have like rain conditions? Like what if the weather's? Are we doing it no matter what?
Yeah, if there is bad weather, I've gotten approval from Ken Hopper at Lake Superior State. We can do the walk inside at the SAC.
Okay, and then just one more quick question. After you register, you're supposed to log on daily, hopefully, and register your activity. Do you have to go onto the website every time, or is there an
Nope,
app?
that just kind of directs you to Challenge Runner. It's just
Okay.
our way of kind of getting our website more members to visit it. But once you are actually registered, you go to, it's www.challengerunner.com.
Challengerunner.com.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? So we ask everyone to show up around 8:30, 9-ish at the Sisler, or no, at the walk, or no, at the Norris Center?
Yes.
At the Bell.
At the bell.
Okay,
Yep.
sounds good.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Becky?
Those that participate, in the challenge, this is kind of a community-wide event. We have about 9 communities participating. So those that are actually registered for the challenge, it's very important that you actually log your behaviors each day, so that you can be eligible to win the $2,000. So if you are participating, your community will get the $2,000.
As a group, it comes to the community group. Okay,
Yes.
great.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, great. Item number 3, presentation from Becky Batra, our citywide cleanup campaign chairman, and this is Becky's 20th year, so we certainly would like to congratulate her on 20 years continuing to clean up the city. And you're doing a great job.
I brought some pictures to show everyone. Okay. As you said, this was the 20th year of the cleanup, and for the past, I think it was 12 years, we've had a contest with the 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders for the design of a T-shirt that each of the volunteers receive if they participate in the cleanup. This year, this is a picture of Joanne Arbick. She's a 5th grader at St. Mary's School, and it was the first year that St. Mary's School won the contest, so that was exciting. And then she won a $25 gift card, and then her whole class got an ice cream party, so it was kind of like she was the one to really support the whole class for participating. That's just a few pictures of cleanup around the ball field. I think you mentioned earlier, we cleaned up 1.5 tons of litter from Sault Ste. Marie. That's an average of it because I did have many volunteers that went out that are dedicated for over 20 years. They look forward to it. They cleaned up before the event. They cleaned up for a couple weeks before. I know Mr. and Mrs. Osmore was out, Phil Dan still. And they were not able to make the cleanup or the day of it, but they did their duty ahead of time. This year we got an anonymous donation, and then the conservation office helped us provide seedlings, little plugs, in honor of the 20th year that were given to all the volunteers that participated in the cleanup. They were also given to the students at the elementary field trip that I got some pictures coming up soon first. Oh, here's a group shot of the City Commission because I did receive a few comments about people new to the community that have never participated in an event in other communities like this. Talking with my Key Michigan Beautiful Board, I believe we're probably one of the largest ones. They get a group of 20 or 25, and when they found out we had 257, they were quite impressed. But this is a group of the city commissioners. The mayor gets his group out, I believe, at 7 a.m. I only require at 9. Mayor's an overachiever. So so we are very fortunate to have a strong commission that does support this effort each year and does make a small budget. It is funded. I have a thank you in the back, but here's a picture of the dumpsters. They were not done yet collecting the garbage, and you can tell how much was actually there. The tires, they really want to thank the Public Works Department. They took care of disposing those because it was something Waste Management wouldn't. I should also note that Waste Management has supplied the garbage bags for all the 20 years and has disposed of the litter at no charge to the city.
Excellent.
This year, Parker's Hardware donated clear garbage bags that were used for those wishing to recycle. The past 3 years, we've had an increase participation of those wanting to recycle. And that's how we would tell the difference. The street department crew would take the clear bags over to Northern Transitions that were aware of it coming, and then the green bags were used to dispose of it going into the landfill. It was approximately 21 pounds, which is quite a bit when you consider most items were plastic.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
that doesn't really weigh too much. So it was quite impressive that we had this much. This year, Tom Pink and Jeff Bailey, this is a picture of Tim Talentino, they went above and beyond cleaning up the Lower River Islands with pontoon boats. They picked up over 30 bags of litter. We've never had anyone, to my knowledge, that worked with us clean up that area before, and they had 30 bags alone. That was quite impressive and really a dedicated effort. This is, like I said, this is the kickoff to the event. The citywide cleanup, again, was started 20 years ago by Bud Weber that met with Mayor Lynn at that time about the litter problem in the city and wanted to do something. Mayor Lynn directed staff to organize a small cleanup, which consisted of about 12 or 13 volunteers. And then the next year, we added in the picnic, and we grew from that to include the T-shirt contest. And then we had an elementary school teacher, Stacy Savoy, that wanted her children to participate, teaching kindergarten, but because it's on Saturday, it wasn't feasible. So I helped her organize and it's now celebrated the 11th year. We have a mini cleanup around Project Playground. A tree is then donated by Gregory Gardens, and it's planted up around the ball field area. We partner with LSSU. His nickname's Chemical Dave, and I can't say his last name, but he's awesome with working with the children, providing them with a nice lesson on the importance and care and maintenance. The children then get to take part with putting the compost on top of the tree, so they're actually planting it. And it's surprising. The cleanup is usually about a half an hour for them around Project Playground, and they really make a dedicated effort in collecting quite a bit of debris around there and then taking part with the tree planting. They were also given a tree seedling to take home and then encouraged to plant it with their parents on their own to get outside and become more active. And that's another one of them. They're provided little bags that we pick up around cigarette butts. In case nobody knows, cigarette butts is the #1 litter in the United States. People do not realize that it is litter and carelessly throw them on the ground, but it is litter, and then the larger bags were used for the more larger items of litter around. We did also receive with the cigarette, I want to comment on the fact that 2 years ago, through my affiliation with Keep Michigan Beautiful, Keep America Beautiful gave us a grant that there are 5 ashtray receptacles along Portage and then 2 of them on Ashman that Justin and the DDA are taking care of maintaining them to assist in the proper disposal of the litter. And that leads me to this picture, which is upcoming through Keep America Beautiful. Again, this week we are going to receive, through our affiliation with Keep Michigan Beautiful, a grant from Dr. Pepper and Snapple for 36 recyclable bins that will be located around the city parks. I'm working with the Public Works Department, are going to help with installation and maintaining them. Justin and the DDA are going to help with the downtown, and we're also going to be putting some up at Lake State with their help on maintaining them up there. I do have a few volunteers that really go unmentioned from year to year. Our cooks, Robert Brown and Stephen Sharon Gregorich, and then Doreen Nelson also helped this year with cooking at the picnic, because as you know, there is a fabulous picnic at Sherman Park following the cleanup. This is a list of all the donators that we have, and the community support is sometimes, it's just overwhelming, because a lot of times I do have businesses that call and say, hey, I want to be a part of this, what can I donate? MC Water Systems donates water. We've got the Sault Ste. Marie, our employees participate in Dress Down Day, which was used for prizes. It's just amazing for how many people really do donate every year, and to think it's been going on for 20 years, and a lot of them have donated continuously for the 20 years. So like I said, we had 257 volunteers. There were about 220 at the cleanup, and 1.5 tons of litter was picked up. I do want to continue, everyone, if anyone is interested, there's a lot of volunteers that go out, like we just recognized recently 2 volunteers that continually go out and clean up on a daily basis. So if anyone is interested in designated larger areas that they want to do a group effort, and so I'd encourage them to contact me at the city, and we can make arrangements to have that done on a continuous basis. Because litter, it's a problem. There's lots of things I've tried to focus with talking with the kids in school about preventative, that to make sure that your dumpsters are closed, your trash. We're lucky that our ordinance requires that our litter is in a bag with the lid closed, because if the lid comes off, the trash can blow around once the wind picks up. To keep your car clean, so when you open the doors, it's not like a vacuum where you don't litter intentionally. I don't think anybody is purposely doing it, but it's just to be proactive about it, and to teach the younger ones, and then sometimes they can remind us adults that sometimes need a little reminder, even myself. So I think that's it. Does anyone have any questions or comments? Or
Commissioner Tuardi?
Thank you. Just nice work, Becky. I saw that we're friends on Facebook, like we've been friends forever. And I saw the pictures that day, and I was just impressed with the size of the dumpsters and how much trash was actually collected?
We were very fortunate this year that we didn't, last year we had large pieces of couch and furnitures that someone just don't care and dispose of in isolated areas that were picked up. And we really need to, I want to really thank the Public Works Department that went above and beyond, Jim Rowe and Dan Wires and Billy. They gave me so much assistance this year with extra little issues that came up. Replacing the refrigerator at the last minute at the park was just outstanding on Dan's part, and Jim Rowe was just amazing. And you look at the picture of the garbage that were overflowing, the volunteers picked that up, but then our street department went around and collected all the bag debris, so then they handled it on top of it. So everybody had such a positive attitude, and it really was marvelous to see so many people involved and to have 257. I believe that, I went through my records, that's the third highest one that we've had. Our lowest one was the 2010, which I like to say who survived the 2010 cleanup, because it did snow that year, and there were still 83 volunteers that showed up to participate. So that was marvelous to see the dedicated volunteers that came
It was
out.
tough finding the paper on the ground.
It was a hide and
Remember that,
seek
yeah.
treat that year. Yeah, but I do hope that, like I said, that recyclable containers should be received this week or early next week, and we're going to get them in place. So I encourage everyone to start using them, and the Public Works, again, is going to be helping us in the DDA and college for maintaining them. It was at no cost to the city that we were able to get these through Keep America Beautiful and Keep Michigan Beautiful. So it was a great benefit for us.
Thank you again. Thank you again for your leadership over this 20 years. Great job. And we have the garbage containers coming.
Yes.
A lot of them, and they're a
36
decent
of them
blue,
are
so-
going to be around.
And the good points about, we use one day to clean up, but we know that litter is there a lot, so that if people will just, if you see the litter, pick it up, put it in a receptacle, we really
Yeah.
would appreciate that.
I was fortunate with my Keep Michigan affiliation to meet Wally Bronner. Most of you know him from Bronner's Christmas World, and he had a saying that a man never stood so tall as when he stooped to pick up a piece of litter. So that's important that we all remember. We all need, the beauty of the Sioux does depend on you, and we all need to start doing our part to continue it. So we definitely can be proud of our citizens for that many showing up this year. It was the beautiful weather, and there was a lot going on that day that people gave up their time to come and participate.
Okay, thanks again.
Thanks.
Okay, item number 4, public comment on scheduled agenda items. Any person may reserve time to speak on an agenda item not to exceed 3 minutes per person. Is there anyone in the audience that'd like to speak on an agenda item? Okay, hearing none, we'll go to item number 5, consent agenda, please.
Under consent agenda, a minute approval of the minutes of the regular city commission meeting of May 18th, 2015, and special city commission meeting of May 28th, 2015. Recommended action, approve the minutes of the regular city commission meeting of May 18th, 2015, and special city, city commission meeting of May 28th, 2015. Item 2, acceptance of the minutes of the following boards and commissions. A, Economic Development Corporation, April 14th, 2015. B, Sault Ste. Marie Housing Commission, March 19th and April 16th, 2015. C, Tree Commission, April 21st, 2015. D, Zoning Board of Appeals, April 16th, 2015. Recommended action is to accept the minutes of the various boards and commissions. Item B, Communications. Number 1, from the Planning Commission, recommendation to approve a resolution to vacate with utility easements the full width of the alley adjacent to lots 7 through 22, inclusive Block 1, St. Paul Addition. Recommended action, schedule a public hearing on a resolution to vacate with utility easements the full width of the alley adjacent to lots 7 through 22, inclusive Block 1, St. Paul Addition, for the June 15, 2015 regular city commission meeting. Item 2, from the Sault Ste. Marie Foundation for Culture and History, Program Service Provider Agreement. Recommended action, approve the Program Service Provider Agreement with the Sault Ste. Marie Foundation for Culture and History.
Okay, thank you. Is there a commissioner that would like something further explained on the consent agenda? Commissioner Tuardi.
So I move that we approve the consent agenda.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Are there any questions? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Gage,
Yes.
Commissioner Gary?
Yes.
Commissioner Lynn?
Yes.
Commissioner Shimmons?
Yes.
Commissioner Tuorty?
Yes.
Mayor Bosbus?
Yes.
Commissioner Bauer?
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you. Item
Next.
6.
Next item on the agenda is 6, communications. A, from Historic Structures Management Committee, authorization of administrative agreement with Les Sous de Sainte Marie Historic Sites.
Okay, thank you. City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor. Assistant DPW Director and Parks and Rec Director Wires is planning to make a presentation on this subject matter.
Okay. Evening, Dan.
Good evening, Mayor and Commission. Regarding the Sioux Historic Sites, as we call that, these agreements, I'll give you a little bit of background with the historic structures. I know Mr. Lynn can give much more background on these than I can, but because the homes have been around for quite some time, and there's times when the homes were not in the city's possession, and then they are. And in 1998 was a Gray and Pape study, and they started the study with in mind of rehabilitating many of the homes. And there was quite a few years where some of the roofs were in bad shape, some of the foundations were in bad shape. And from my records, back in 2006 is when we started budgeting for the homes. And so what you have before you is 2 different agreements, one for Sioux Historic Sites, and the next one on the agenda is for the Chippewa County Historical Society. And those folks have partnered with the city as being partners on the Historical Structures Committee to provide some of the services at the facility. And I just kind of went back on some of my documentation from back in 2006. And what they provide is custodial services. They do cut the grass. These are things that are necessarily outside of the DPW that we're there to assist. We do bring many materials type things in, but the lawn and grounds are cut, the trash is picked up, it's irrigated if needed. Back in 2006, we didn't even have a water line, and we put a water line in there. We have a garden in there now, the Ningay Garden, which is next to the Johnston House. They seasonally open and close the structure. There's limited basic maintenance that gets taken care of on a regular basis and as needed basis. They're limited to what they can do. They're not into the rehabilitative maintenance, the historical restoration type work. And also Sioux Historic Sites also, they actually do the administrative work, the payroll for the docents, the payroll for the programming, for the performances and that type of thing. And that has been for quite a few years, specifically to Sioux Historic Sites. That's the item on the agenda. If so, I would go even to the next agenda item, which is the Historical Society. And it's pretty much the same type of agreement that you folks saw back in 2012 as well. They're very similar to what they've been, from program and administration to exhibit preparation. It's all about the houses with these agreements. So, I mean, I'll open it up for any questions.
Yeah, let's do item number 6A first. And I believe Commissioner Gary would like to make a comment.
I'd like to abstain from any discussion or vote due to my relationship on the Board of Historic Sites.
Is that appropriate, City Attorney?
It is required that you abstain since this is a new 3-year agreement.
Okay. Anyone else? Commissioner Bauer.
So moved that the commission approve the agreement between the City of Sault Ste. Marie and Sioux Historic Sites as presented.
Support.
It's been moved, supported. Are there any questions? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Shimmons?
Yes.
Commissioner Tuorty?
Yes.
Mayor Bosbus?
Yes.
Commissioner Bauer?
Yes.
Commissioner Gage?
Yes.
Commissioner Gary?
Abstain.
Commissioner Lynn?
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you. See,
Thank you, Dan.
Item B, from the Historic Structures Management Committee, authorization of operational agreement with Chippewa County Historical Society.
Okay, thank you. City manager.
Sure. Dan, if you'd like to
Okay.
add anything further on that.
And I know the commission is aware, but for the public as well, this is what you're approving tonight is it's a 1-year renewable for 2 additional years. So as Commissioner said, it's for 3 years, the mayor, for 3 years. And so our costs should stay consistent for the next 3,
Okay.
for both of them.
Any questions of Mr. Wires? Thank you. Anything else, city manager?
No, just appreciate both of the organizations' involvement and the explanation from Mr. Wires. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Shimmons.
I move that the City Commission approve the agreement between the City of Sault Ste. Marie and the Chippewa County Historical Society.
Support.
It's moved and supported. Are there any questions? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Lynn?
Yes.
Commissioner Tuorty?
Yes.
Commissioner Shimmons?
Yes.
Mayor Bosbus?
Yes.
Commissioner Bauer?
Yes.
Commissioner Gage?
Yes.
Commissioner Gary?
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you.
Item C, from the Planning Commission, recommendation to approve a request to divide an approximately 19.3 acre parcel located on the west side of West 20th Street, approximately a half-mile north of 3 Mile Road.
Okay, thank you. City manager.
Thank you, Mayor. The subject property consists of an undeveloped 19.3 acre parcel of land located on the west side of West 20th Street, approximately half a mile north of 3 Mile Road, as shown in the indicated aerial photo. In its current form, the parcel is approximately 660 feet wide and 1,290 feet deep. The applicant proposes to divide the property into one 10-acre parcel and one 9.3 acre parcel. With respect to the conformance to the Michigan's Land Division Act and the City of Sault Ste. Marie's zoning ordinance, the proposed parcel split would do both, conforming to requirements within the Land Division Act pertaining to width to depth ratio, the number of times a parcel can be split, and public utility requirements. It also conforms to the city's zoning ordinance. Required notices pertaining to the division of this parcel have been duly sent to adjacent property owners and utilities that could be impacted by the subject matter. To date, no comments have been received regarding the same. It should be noted that the Planning Commission considered this request at its May 14, 2015 meeting and recommended approval of the request, subject to changes which the applicant has since made. Accordingly, it's my recommendation that the City Commission approve the request to divide the approximately 19.3 acre parcel as recommended by the Planning Commission. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. City Commission, Commissioner Gage.
So moved that the City Commission approve a request to divide approximately 19.3 acre parcel located at west side of West 20th Street, approximately half mile north of 3 Mile Road.
Support.
It's been moved, supported. Are there any questions? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Gary?
Yes.
Commissioner Lynn?
Yes.
Commissioner Shimmons?
Yes.
Commissioner Tuorty?
Yes.
Mayor Bosbus?
Yes.
Commissioner Bauer?
Yes.
Commissioner Gage?
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you.
Item D, from Lake Superior State University, authorization of a resolution of support for the Simulation Center project.
Okay, great. City manager.
Tonight, we do have representatives from Lake Superior State University here to address this matter. Very excited to hear their presentation, as we had the experience of going to an open house there recently that encapsulates the project well, and certainly the administration looks forward to supporting this effort.
Okay. I see we have Tom Coates and Virginia Zinzer from the Lake Superior State Foundation. And where's Lindsay out there somewhere? She's quietly sitting in the back. And also Jody, but who wants to start it out? This is a very unique project, and many of us, I think, in the community have seen the present simulation center and the mannequins that are almost human. In fact, we should probably check these two. They might be.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Commission, for having us here tonight. I'm going to have Virginia be my clickety-click and keep me on track because I've been known to talk quite a bit. But it's because I'm so excited. We want to share with you a little bit more about our simulation project. Simulation, for those of you that don't know and have not been to our center, what we're doing is we are now incorporating simulation in healthcare education. One of the biggest problems that we have is not being able to place all of our students in clinical settings for them to get their experience. So simulation has now been brought into education where they will work with mannequins that are very high fidelity. They sweat, they bleed, they froth at the mouth, they have seizures. They basically can do anything that we want. They birth. So we have a sim mom who actually has a birth and also can have a cesarean section as well. So we can do quite a bit with our mannequins. It's very, very exciting, and our students absolutely love it. And now we are working on creating a sim center. We're currently in a temporary space at the Smart Zone. We were given a fantastic gift of $400,000 to purchase the mannequins, and we were able to purchase 5 with $400,000. They're very expensive, and we were very, very lucky to have that, but we were also told, you need to start using them now, and that was November, and we had to use them by Christmas. So we needed space. We didn't have any. We moved into the Smart Zone, but the Smart Zone is our temporary home, and we'd like to build a new home, and that's why we're here, to show you a little bit more about that. I don't know how much I've actually gone through already. There we go. Oh, so we wanted to bring up the economic impact that this will have for our entire area. So spending by LSSU students and visitors generates $113 million in economic activity each year. So we already know that we're a very important piece to the community. In addition to that, the economic impact is responsible for the creation of 1,400 jobs, and that's about 9% of all the jobs in Chippewa County. Each student that arrives on campus, one of the impact studies showed that there's about $45,000 per student per year that they are spending in our area when they do come here. So we're going to be able to increase enrollment with our new center, and that's what's really exciting for us, especially in the nursing and paramedic fields. We need more out there. 40% of our nurses are baby boomers, and so the one great thing about the recession was that it prevented them from retiring, because that is going to have a huge impact in healthcare when they do, not only for the care of our patients, but also for nursing faculty who are teaching our new and young ones. So we're going to have an issue coming up pretty soon. So with that said, we're going to be able to increase enrollment, get more nurses out there when we do build our center, and I'll show you how we're going to do that. Do you want me to keep talking about that? No, we can keep going. Those are just numbers. So here, as you already know, the RW Considine Hall is coming, and that project is well underway. We have construction. There's a nice live webcam. You can actually watch it now. So it's kind of cool to be on campus and see the movement of that. But now that that campaign is behind us, we are now looking forward to a new exciting building on campus, and that is the Superior Simulation and Innovation Center. As you can tell, the acronym is SICK, but we want you to be healthy. Get it? So here's our new logo. Yep. And so we're very excited. It's going to be on Easter Day, right across from Brady Hall, so a very nice prominent area for our community. As you can see here, that's not Abbey Road, that's actually Easter Day. And to the right, you will see that is where we plan on putting it, right in L lot. We're working very diligently to make sure that we do not use up all the parking spaces. So we're working with our architects to make sure that we do this in a great way so that it's all positive for our campus. We're very excited. Taking a look at it from a campus map, you can see where the location would be. So it's really going to help bring that four corners. I want to call it like the Vegas four corners. You know how, if you've been there, yeah. So we're trying to make it so that, hey, welcome to the other side of campus. It's not just on the one side of Easter Day, but it's also on the other side. So we're helping to make that a little bit more equal on both sides. So here's a floor plan, but I'm not going to get into too much of this. What I have for you tonight is an animation that is fantastic that shows what these areas will actually look like and what their purposes are. We have immersive interprofessional education. As you can see, this is a control room, and we are behind the one-way glass watching our students. And we can actually control the mannequins from that one way. So for instance, I always like to give the example of if the student were to give a lethal dose of a medication, obviously by accident, hopefully not purposefully, then we can actually make the mannequin react to that and actually go into cardiac or respiratory arrest so that they get that experience without actually working on you as the patient when they make that mistake. So we do believe in a no-harm, safe education zone. We do not use simulation for high stakes and to fail them. This is a safe place for them to take risks, educated risks, and keep our patients safe when they actually go into the clinical setting. So that's part of our immersive. This is an area of administrative space. There'll just be some great space for us with a reception lounge, a student break area. Their clinical replacement is 8 hours long, so we want to make sure that they do have a place to take a break and debrief after one of their scenarios. It can be extremely stressful for students. And we have a lot of students break down, a lot of students, it's an extremely stressful situation when you're caring for anyone, especially when we make it so real that they actually forget that they're working with a mannequin. That's our goal, is realism as much as we can. And that's again another floor plan of the lower level. There's 2 levels. This is the virtual hospital. This is the piece that's going to be the most impactful for our area and for the nation. Because we have less clinical space for our students, if we're going to increase enrollment, we need more place for them to practice. So we are actually building a virtual hospital that will look and sound and smell like a real hospital. Not that all hospitals smell, but we can have smells. And our goal is to have as much realism as possible for the students so that when they are in our virtual hospital, they will have the same experience, if not better, than what they would in a hospital setting. One of the reasons why I say if not better is because if you yourself were to crash or go into cardiac arrest, our students are pushed aside. And then, of course, the practicing healthcare professionals are the ones that are caring for them. In simulation, we would not be pushing them aside. We're going to give them that experience so that they can actually have that prior to them practicing, so they're better prepared and they're more ready to take care of us as patients. Certification and EMS training, this is another big area for us. We want to bring simulation not just for nursing, but also for our EMS and our pre-hospital. I like to give the example of our EMTs in our area are mostly volunteer. So when they arrive at a scene that is quite traumatic, it can end their career right then and there as a volunteer EMT because they just can't handle what they're seeing. And rightly so. We can reenact those things in our center and take them through and debrief through the feelings of what it's like to find a child who has passed away, or a limb that is found across the road, or I could get really gory, but all those things that we can actually simulate in our center. We have makeup and simulated limbs and a whole bunch of great fluids and stuff that we can work with to make things as real as possible. So we're excited about that, helping out the community. This is a rendering of the inside. This is the atrium looking down into the certification area. And another glimpse. There's a house where actually, if you look at the back right corner, that is a virtual house that we're going to be placing. We want to work with the high school students to have them build us that house and then place it in there for our paramedics and our home health nursing rotation to make it more real. So we're really excited about that piece. Again, just more images of the control room looking into. This one is a simulated trauma / operating room. We're going to multi-purpose out our rooms for better cost savings. Again, another look from inside. Look at how happy they are. The benefits, of course. I've already listed quite a few of them, but another thing is that it's a great positive recruiting tool for War Memorial Hospital in this area. When they're bringing in doctors and nurses from other areas that have trained with simulation, there's no doubt that they have. I don't know of any healthcare education system that is not using simulation, so that would be something they would expect in their continuing education as a professional. So I think that's going to be really key in showing them great state-of-the-art stuff for them to stay in our area. Again, making our already existing medical and healthcare professionals competent, especially in things that they may not see all the time, but just might. We call those low volume, high risk. I give examples of things like third-degree burns or a plane crash, or maybe it's some kind of gunshot wound. I mean, we don't see a lot of that. So being able to bring our healthcare professionals through those types of scenarios on an annual basis and keep them competent is only going to be better for all of us, even though I hope none of us have gunshot wounds. And here's an example of Dr. Tetzloff taking over at one of our events. And we just, he's a great participant. He brought, he and some other OB doctors, baby doctors and nurses came and spent the day with us at one point. And we did some great, did I go out? We did some fantastic births. We had multiple births that day, probably 20 births. But they had some great learning activities as a team and as a system, and it was a fantastic day for War Memorial's OB department. So we were excited about that. Here's another rendering of the outside. Again, a beautiful view for us on Easter Day and for the community. And thank you very much. And I just want to show you this fantastic little animation because we've been working so hard. And we're excited to show it to you. But thank you, everybody. And now...
Thank you, Jody.
Yeah.
Any questions?
Oops.
Yeah.
Commissioner Lynn.
Just two things.
Sure.
One, I know we're all concerned about enrollment in the state.
Right.
This would turn that right around.
Absolutely.
Time.
Absolutely. It's, you know, there's one thing about when you're visiting a campus as a mom of younger or teenage kids, when you're visiting a campus, eye candy speaks a lot. So, you know, we don't want to say, oh, it doesn't have to do with great-looking buildings, but the number one thing for a kid is what do the buildings look like and where am I going to be sleeping, you know? So those types of things, we're really excited to bring that to Lake State and say we've got great history and some great historic buildings, but at the same time, we do have some state-of-the-art stuff too.
Where's, just a minor thing, where's the funding coming from?
Great question. We are actually very actively fundraising right now. We're doing a campaign where we have a very unique situation and opportunity right now that there's a group of donors who have said, if you can show great community involvement by individuals who believe in this project, then we will give you a significant amount of money. So we are on the road. We're here tonight saying, please, please help donate if you can, so that we can show community support, so that we can meet that demand. And so that's really why we're here. It's our biggest thing. So we're fundraising. No state dollars are going into this.
Is there any chance that once this facility's built, it will help some really old hockey players?
It will help the oldest hockey players around, like Tommy Coates. Yes. Yes.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yes. We actually have one of our mannequins. We dress up during our fundraising events, and we put him in Laker gear, and we call him Tommy Coates. Yeah. He's got like a black eye and a tooth missing, and
That mannequin
Yeah.
probably doesn't pass the puck either. So.
no, he probably doesn't. Poor Tommy. Yeah.
Great,
Any
Bob.
other questions?
Oh, Commissioner
Yeah.
Tuardi.
Just a quick comment. My
Sure.
first career before what I'm doing now, I was an EMT and a paramedic. And I worked in the field and I worked in the emergency room. And I'll never forget my first day in the field because I had no idea what I was going into. I had never arrived on scene and I didn't even know what it was going to look like. And so I think there was quite a few times where I probably became a wallflower and got pushed out of the way.
Right.
Until I really got used to it. But if being able to see scenarios, I think I would have adapted much quicker.
Sure, and the evidence is there. The literature shows that the confidence and the competence of anyone going through these scenarios is much higher, and they're better patient outcomes. I want my students to, if I become ill or suddenly drop, I want them to be able to take care of me and feel confident when they're doing it. So, yeah, thank you.
Commissioner Gage?
So I have to say that I'm a huge supporter of the sim lab. It's a great project, but one of the things that I learned the most going through the simulation is that I'm glad I went for political science instead of nursing, because it is so hyper realistic and traumatizing. It's too much. If I never do it again, then it's too soon, you know. But
Oh, come on, Jay.
Oh, I know. I'm too soft, but. One of the great things about this building as well is that it'll be the only part of Lake State that actually has a presence of face on Easter Day. As you look right now, the backside of Crawford Hall is facing Easter Day. The backside of South Hall, Catalan Hall, is facing Easter Day. So this will really ingrain as you're driving by that you're in a university town. And so when it comes to fundraising, this resolution before us tonight was done to show that the community's behind this, community's supporting. So that's the reason we brought this here and we're presenting it to the commission. So I want to thank the commissioners and the manager that came to the simulation event a couple weeks ago, or a week ago or so. And I want to thank Oliver for helping us turn this around and get it on the agenda here in very quick order. So.
And I checked with the city attorney, and you certainly can make the motion.
Yep. I was just going to ask, do
Yes.
I abstain or do I move?
No,
or?
you can make the motion.
Okay, and so should I make the motion and then the video?
Pardon?
Because she still wants to show
Yes.
the animation. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, then I would so move that we authorize a resolution of support for the Simulation Center project for Lake Superior State University.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Any further questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried, and good luck.
She still has the video to show.
Yeah.
Oh, you still have some
Yeah,
video?
I'm just going
Oh,
to show a very quick animation,
Okay.
if you don't mind. Is
Sure.
that okay?
You bet.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm just going to get this. It shouldn't take too long, but it's very exciting. So I'll just be the narrator. So this is Easter Day, as you can tell. There I am off on my morning jog to Let's Get Moving. And then this is coming into the atrium. Again, administrative offices on the right and the house on the back wall. They don't have a lot of people in scrubs, which is what we kind of wanted. We're heading down the stairs. This would be into the training center, where we can have multiple things going on, especially for CPR training and things like that. Look at all those learners, loving life. Okay, and there's our simulated ambulance that will be in the back room. Not a working one, just one that we would practice in. We're now coming into our virtual hospital. A lot of these rooms are actually going to be based off the War Memorial Hospital plans, especially things like a prison room. We want to be able to have our students work in that environment as well. So quite a few things that we want that they can then feel very comfortable when they go to their clinicals. This is the observation deck, so that when we do have people that want to come and watch, they can from a little bit of an elevated level, watching and looking down to see what the students are doing. And then we also have our control rooms in this area. And our debriefing rooms, where we talk after the scenario to make sure that the learning has occurred. And here's our control room. This is the drone that we bought to do. I'm just kidding. So this is the look from the sky, just to give you a better idea of where it is on campus. The back of the center will actually have an ambulance entrance exact to War Memorial's ambulance bay that was just created, so that our EMS folk in the community can train in an environment that is very real to them. So that's really exciting. We had to put it behind the building because we found out that other centers who put it where it was prominently seen, there were people pulling up wanting emergent help.
Yeah. Sure.
They were pulling in, I'm having a heart attack, please help me. And we're like, we only simulate. So we're trying to make sure that doesn't happen for us. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Any questions of Jody?
Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you again very much, and again, best wishes, and we certainly think that we'll get there.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Okay, we are, do we vote on that?
Yep, we already did.
We did, okay. Item number 7, the city manager's report. City Manager Turner.
Thank you, Mayor. Item A under the City Manager's report would provide for the award of bids for the purchase of maintenance materials for the Department of Public Works for fiscal year 15-16. Annually, the Public Works Department bids out various bulk maintenance materials utilized during the course of the year by the department, including gravel, sand, cold patch, and topsoil. The city received pricing from 6 vendors, and it is my recommendation that the City Commission accept the following bids from the following vendors, including 6A crushed stone from Northern Sand and Gravel at $14.95 per ton delivered, and Fox Aggregates at $9.50 per ton picked up, 22A gravel from Northern Sand and Gravel at $11.50 per ton delivered, $6.50 per ton picked up, 23A gravel from Fox Aggregates at $11.75 per ton delivered, and $6.75 per ton picked up, Class 2 fill sand from Northern Sand and Gravel at $8.20 per yard delivered, and then $3 per yard picked up. Unclassified fill sand from Frank Pingator at $1.85 per yard picked up. Ice control sand from Northern Sand and Gravel at $9.95 per yard delivered, and $6.95 per yard picked up. Topsoil from Fox Aggregates at $17.50 per ton delivered, and $14.25 per ton picked up, and cold patch from Everett Goodrich Trucking at $105.50 per ton delivered. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Lynn.
Your Honor, so moved, we approve the city manager's recommendation on the purchase of the maintenance material for the Department of Public Works for fiscal year 2015.
It's been moved and supported. Are there any questions? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Bauer?
Yes.
Commissioner Gage?
Yes.
Commissioner Gary?
Yes.
Commissioner Lynn?
Yes.
Commissioner Shimmons?
Yes.
Commissioner Twardy?
Yes.
Mayor Bosbus?
Yes. Motion carried. Thank you.
Item B under the City Manager's report would provide for the award of a contract for 2015 citywide pavement markings. As indicated within the memorandum, the city received sealed bids on Tuesday, May 26th for placing long line pavement markings, including center lines and edge lines, on the city street system. The 2 bids received for this work are as follows. The first from PK Contracting of Lake City, Michigan, which bid $17,746.78, and the bid received from Michigan Pavement Marking of Wyoming, Michigan, which bid $20,899.86. The work that would be completed as part of this project consists of furnishing the materials and placing pavement markings at locations as designated by the DPW based on a unit price and as indicated on the included map. Therefore, the total to be expended on the project is an estimate until final quantities are known. Per released bid documents, the completion date for the pavement markings is expected to be June 24th, 2015. Please note that although there are 2 bidders, neither bidder is local, and therefore the local preference considerations do not apply to this particular bid. Accordingly, it's my recommendation that the City Commission award the pavement marking contract to PK Contracting of Lake City, Michigan, in an amount not to exceed $17,746.78, with that company being the low bidder meeting qualifications.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Gary.
So move the city manager's recommendation.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Are there any questions? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Twardy?
Yes.
Mayor Bosbus?
Yes.
Commissioner Bauer?
Yes.
Commissioner Gage?
Yes.
Commissioner Gary?
Yes.
Commissioner Lynn?
Yes.
Commissioner Shimmons?
yes,
Motion carried. Thank you.
Item C under the City Manager's report would provide for the adoption of a resolution in support of the Master Parks and Recreation Planning Initiative. As the Commission is aware, Assistant City Manager Troyer and Parks and Recreation Director Wires recently made a presentation to the Community Services Board regarding the updating of the Master Parks and Recreation Plan by Northern Michigan University students Alex Strobin and Yvonne Ridge. The Community Services Board expressed support for this effort, and it's anticipated that the above-mentioned students will be working on the updating of this plan from now through early to mid-August. The updating of this plan will be critical to the city's ability to obtain future grant funds for parks and recreation improvements, including potential improvements that will support Lake Superior State University's Center for Freshwater Research and Education. As part of the Master Recreational Plan development, the team working on this is requesting that the City Commission formally recognize the importance of parks and recreation to the quality of life of the residents, stakeholders, and guests of the Sault Ste. Marie community, and the need to provide quality parks and recreation services as part of strategic economic development and placemaking efforts. Accordingly, it is my recommendation that the City Commission approve the presented resolution in support of Master Parks and Recreation Planning. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Twardy.
I so move that we approve the presented resolution in support of Master Parks and Recreation Planning.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Are there any questions? Commissioner Gage.
What's the process going to look like? Do we have any input in the updates, or I guess?
City Manager.
Thank you, Commissioner. Certainly there will be public hearings that will be held as a component of this. And there will be a series of public hearings that will be held likely in January.
Okay.
And the reason for that is that the plan will be updated. However, there is benefits to adopting the plan in January because it will last an additional year according to Department of Natural Resources guidelines.
Any other questions? Commissioner Lynn.
I have, since I'm on the Central Savings Bank Board, city attorney, should I abstain?
Here, use it. There you go.
It'll be fine if you abstain.
Okay. Anyone else? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Gary?
Yes.
Commissioner Bauer?
Yes.
Commissioner Gage?
Yes.
Mayor Bosbus?
Yes.
Commissioner Lynn?
Abstain.
Commissioner Twardy?
Yes.
Commissioner Shimmons?
yes.
Motion carried. Thank you. Question. Yes, Commissioner Barr. What's that? Yeah, I think so. I think he went to the depositories. We're on the master plan. I was wondering what.
Depositories, what are you talking about?
Depositories. The bank. You were one ahead of us, Commissioner. I was wondering why he was.
Yeah, Pat and I have been lost on a couple items here.
This is a master of Parks and I thought, well, maybe one of the kids, one of the folks that might have been related to a person from the bank or something.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can ask
I can
Commissioner.
vote on that one.
Commissioner Lynn?
Yeah.
The next item, you will refrain from any discussion.
And I'm not on any drugs either.
Item D, under the city manager's report, would provide authorization of depositories for city funds for the 2015-16 fiscal year and approval of investment policy. In regards to the authorization of depositories for city funds for the 2015-16 fiscal year, annually the city commission authorizes various depositories for city funds in accordance with the city's investment policy. Michigan Class, along with its custodian bank of Wells Fargo Bank, has been added to the listed depositories from the previous fiscal year. Please note that the City Commission can add or delete any financial institutions during the course of the year. In regards to the investment policy, the current city investment policy was adopted by the City Commission in January 2013, and a copy of Public Act 20 has been included for your review. The investment policy is to be reviewed annually and presented to the City Commission each June, along with the authorized depositories. The administration has reviewed the city's investment policy and found these investments to be in conformance with city policies as well as the Governing Act 20 of 1943, which is incorporated into the policy itself. Accordingly, it's my recommendation that the City Commission first authorize Central Savings Bank, Huntington Bank, PNC Bank, Old Mission Bank, M Bank, Charles Schwab, Fidelity Investments, the Bank of New York Mellon, U.S. Bank, and Michigan Class, along with its custodian bank of Wells Fargo Bank, as depositories for city operating funds for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2015 and ending June 30, 2016. And secondarily, approve the investment policy as presented, which is consistent with Public Act 20 as a guiding resource for legal and appropriate municipal investing. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. And there are two recommendations in discussion with the city attorney. That's one motion. Commissioner Gage.
I'd so move the manager's recommendation.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Are there any questions? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Lynn?
Abstain.
Commissioner Shimmons?
Yes.
Commissioner Twardy?
Yes.
Mayor Bosbus?
Yes.
Commissioner Bauer?
Yes.
Commissioner Gage?
Yes.
Commissioner Gary?
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you.
Item E, under the city manager's report, pertains to the 10-month budget review, on which matter Finance Director and Treasurer Kristen Collins will be making a presentation.
Okay. Evening, Kristen.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioner and staff. I prepared this final budget review for the year based on April 30th financials, and we still have 2 months left in the year to go, but we're taking a look at it, and one of the guiding documents that we used is the budget, where we come up with a final total estimate. All departments give their best estimate at that time, and those are developed in February. And then we take a look at how March and April come out and do a best guess again. Hopefully this will be the last one, although we may want to review it one more time at the next meeting. As you know, all these budget reviews have to be done prior to the end of the fiscal year, so we're getting close. The first part of my report, I review the commission actions throughout the year, and I just list them all. These are things you've already approved. Are there any questions on those items? Okay, well then I'll get right into the general fund revenue. Almost everything looks reasonable at this time. Most categories are doing very well. We always have a lag when it comes to government and grant revenue, because it starts, the fiscal year end for the state is September 30th, so we often see a lag there. The taxes come in early, and so that's ahead. And then the only one that we thought needed adjustment was ambulance revenue, and it's just looking to be low. We did some analysis prior years and estimate that it will come in at $90,400 short of our budget. So it's supposed to come in at $1,809,600, I believe. And so that was a worthy enough amount, I thought, justified bringing it down in the budget. As far as general fund expenses, we have been on track for most of the departments. There are a few extra costly items. One of the main items that's causing me concern is the tax appeals, and we certainly want to fight those. It's a worthy expenditure, but we're going to need additional budget in both the assessing department and finance because this is where these charges end up. The legal fees are in finance department, and the consultants and the travel end up in the assessor's department. So there's an additional request between the two departments of $20,000, $9,600 to finance, and $10,400 to assessing. Those costs can be just transferred in from another governmental account, which would be the contingency fund that had $32,000 and change in it. And so between that, $36,200 is what I had. There is one other non-departmental cost that is coming in a little over budget, and that's postage. So we wanted to add $5,000 to that. That would bring, if we move those between contingency and those departments, it brings contingency down to $11,200. So that's your little bit left for next meeting if something comes up, an unexpected cost. The public safety and health, we had a few police department items in there, just things that are hard to budget. We had the new drug forfeiture expenditures, and we want to keep, when we get the Trident donations, which come specifically for that expenditure, we want to keep those funds available into the next year. So what we want to do is increase the budget to $8,300 in the Trident donations, increase the budget in the expenditure in the same amount, and then whatever's left over at year end, we'll put in a reserve in the general fund. So I kind of explained that before, but if there were any questions at this time, you're certainly welcome to ask. I also saw that there was special revenue funds of $3,000 for another drug forfeiture expenditure. It's currently at only $1,057, but I thought $3,000, that should keep them until the end of the year, and we won't have to worry about going over. The fire chief mentioned there was one other item. It has to do with his uniforms. We'll probably be presenting that at the next meeting, and I'll get something to him so that he can present that. And so that's not in this report, and my apologies to that. The next cost category in the general fund is Department of Public Works. This covers engineering, alleys, sidewalks, composting, tree maintenance, community development, airport, and industrial park. These items are all doing fairly well. I'm not asking for any revisions at this time. We did expect an rate increase from Cloverland for the street lighting, but it looks like costs are contained throughout the rest of the departments, so we don't have to do anything at this time. Culture and recreation include the parks, beautification, EDC, Kemp and Harvey Marinas, the Ani Osborne, and all of the other parks and recreation departments. Kemp Marina is ahead of target, but you know, they top off their tanks in the fall, and I'm not really too concerned about this line item at 87%. The parks maintenance is below target at 78. The puller's at 95. So I know it had a rough winter. I think most of the expenses are behind us, and I think between the overage in that and unders in the other parks departments, I think we should be all set without any kind of revision on there. The historic homes is at 96%, and they're very aware of that, and they're containing costs. So they probably won't have any significant expenses till July 1st. So no revisions are requested for the culture and rec category. The capital equipment, nothing out of the ordinary at this time. There's a correction that's going to go in before now in the year end. And there's a new cost category, and that's the interest expense for the Osborne Interfund loan. And that one, I don't know how I missed it, but at the budget time, we didn't have it in there. And so this is just asking for budget for that agreed upon amortization schedule. You'll see when we get to seal operating, the same thing happened there. So we're looking for just a budget to cover actual and already agreed upon expenses. To close the general fund, we have additional transfers out of $190,000. This is $80,000 to cover seal shortfall, which I'll get into in just a minute, and $110,000 to cover parking deck costs that are just not, the fund is not able to cover those costs itself. And this was all part of the final total estimate, so I just relied on those numbers, and they look to still be good. Are there any questions in the general fund before I proceed? Okay. The seal operating fund, at the time last year when we were looking at this internal fund loan, I took the fund balance, but what I missed was a budget sitting out there that had not yet been spent for the electrical project, the very important electrical project that's $80,000. Once the audit came along, I realized that that fund didn't have enough to support that project. So I'm requesting a transfer of $80,000. I don't know if it's going to actually need to happen, but that way it just covers in case. And it was just the breakout of the loan between the general fund and seal operating. It's from the big picture, the government-wide, it's no different. It's just between these funds. So did I explain that well enough? Is it?
Yes.
Okay. Osborne operating, we're looking for a budget carryover for 2 projects that were very nominal and didn't get carried over from last year end. One is the River of History display track light for $600, and the second one is the Barriga House handrail for $2,400. And so I'm just looking to carry those over because I believe they were spent. In the major and local streets and stock and equipment, these same guys do work that's spread throughout the major street, local street, stock and equipment, and the little bit of DPW in the general fund. So when you see a cost as high in, say, major street, it's probably low somewhere else, and that's what we have in front of us tonight. And as of April 30th, we have major streets is really suffering. We spent a lot of time clearing snow. We spent a lot of time maintaining those roads. And so we need extra funding in those departments. The first item I list, though, in my report is that we have trunk line maintenance that is MDOT supported. And it's supported 100%. So not only that, but they pay us a little bit of overhead and fringe, which I don't really worry too much about it. It's not included in these amounts. What I did is I took the actual expenditures to date and the revenue to date, and I just kind of want to bring the budget up to those levels. So just in case, it's just a nice cushion. We've already seen that money come in. It's little adjustments that occur throughout the year when DPW Director Morrow was asked to spend a little more time down on the trunk line. The second item I mentioned under Major Street are the TWAs. These are transportation work authorizations. These are the same thing coming from NDOT, only they're so costly that they're capital. So over $10,000 with an improved value of lasting over 2 years. So we had one for $50,000 and another one for $15,000. The $50,000 one is resurfacing of I-75 Business Spur and Portage Avenue. And the second $15,000 is drainage structures along I-75, 129, and Portage. So those I set up as a capital project in Major Street, even though I don't normally put capital projects in Major Street, but it's just really easy because they're going to be done so quickly. The operational street department expenses were a little more difficult than these. I took our final total estimates, but I realized that they were not sufficient. So I took some long-term averages year to date and came up with these numbers that I have brought to you today. The street maintenance, I would like an extra $55,800. Street cleaning, $28,400. Traffic control, $40,200. And winter maintenance, hopefully it's behind us, $112,500. That's going to bring the fund when we actually close the fund with all that, it's going to be trouble for the fund, so I'm asking for $200,000 transfer from road contingency. Now, I don't like to use road contingency. I know there's going to be extra in stock and equipment. There's going to be a little extra in local street. But I think it makes a lot of sense to transfer it from road contingency, or at least approve that budget, and we'll reassess it at year end. And only utilizing what we really need to keep that fund positive. Are there any questions on Major Street? I know it's a lot. There's a lot of accounts in that fund. And you're all aware, I believe, that the detail financial, I know you got the summary, but the details are on the departmental reporting site. So if you ever want to take a browse through those statements, and if you have any questions, call me at that time. The local street is doing very well. Actually quite a bit lower. Winter maintenance is at 98%, but the rest of the departments are doing under 50% even. And so that is the only request for all the street funds and stock and equipment. DDA, TIF 1 and TIF 2, we had a fringe benefit error in calculation at budget time, which I want to correct on here, and I just mentioned it's just a transfer between different fringe benefit budgets between the TIFA and the parking deck and the DDA. So I put all the health care in DDA for one employee who's really supposed to be split between all those funds. So my apologies. There are some concerns in this fund, and we're going to be meeting. Justin Nepper and I will be meeting sometime this week to review and see what he thinks is going to happen at year end, and if he has a budget revision, he'll put it in the next meeting. The LDFA, Oliver, are we postponing that one?
Right. They would, just for the commission's awareness, would recommend, please do explain it, but the appropriation that would be recommended to go from TIFA 3 into LDFA would recommend to be considered at the next meeting after both boards have additional time to review it.
Okay. The LDFA tax capture has been the most difficult tax revenue to budget that I've ever seen, and I'm sure many people that work with these captures feel the same. But part of the reason that we've had trouble is there are different batches of parcels, and each of those batches capture a different rate because, like for example, all of us principal residence exemption, we don't pay some of those school taxes. So the city can't capture those school taxes for us that are in our homes. For that reason and many others, the tax capture for the LDFA in the current year will be just under $24,000, where it was budgeted at $161,000. It's dramatic, and this is why we wanted to bring it to your attention. And most revenue budgets, we're not obliged to bring them down, but since it's such a large difference, I thought that we should probably take action at the next meeting to reduce that revenue. So you ask what happens then? We got less revenue. We need funding from another fund. And the backup for LDFA is TIFA 3. So we've been talking with the EDC board and the TIFA 3 board about filling this gap. And so discussions continue. For the current year, I would be looking for a transfer of $40,000 to keep the fund in the black. Are there any questions on the LDFA and what happened?
Yeah. Go ahead, Michael.
Commissioner Gage?
What led into such a low tax capture?
Well, we had reductions in values. That's the primary thing. When values are reduced on a capture, it's dramatic.
Yeah.
We have the taxable value, and it comes up to here to the base here. Then when the value goes up above the base here, this is capture. But as it goes down, the capture is much lower, and it's so much more dramatic up here than it is for the city operational funds. Does that help? Okay.
Yes, the city's experienced 2 years of reductions in our capturable income from property taxes, so that's in effect it really affects the LDFAs and the TIFAs.
Next year is going to be another hard year, but long range, it's looking good. We have many things to celebrate. We have a lot of new businesses. There's hope, but it's going to be tough for a couple of years. Any other questions on tax capture? This same thing's been affecting the DDA for longer even. So you've seen it there. It's tough. Okay, so we'll come back to you with that budget revision. So when you're doing your final, just leave that one out.
Okay. Then it makes sense that the LDFA and the TIFAs have a chance to comment before it comes to us or with their recommendations too, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so the debt service fund is the next one. I was going number order, 351. The subsidy for the Build America bond, the City Hall Water Street bond, it was reduced by the sequestration. It negatively impacted our bond, our interest subsidy. It was 7.2%, which is $5,700. So I'm requesting a reduction in revenue for that. The fund can sustain it. It'll be all right. The Capital Projects Fund includes one generous donation from Mrs. Sterling in memory of Mr. Patrick Sterling, and the family wished for that money to be spent at Canes Rink. So for that fund, I've put a donations budget increase of $2,000, and then an increase to the Canes Rink and inspection and roof project at Mr. Wyer's recommendation. The parking fund is looking good. We have expenses are a little high, but it looks reasonable. And we did, the DDA board met, and this was in February, and requested that $5,000 be moved to fund a paving of a parking lot at the Library Drive lot. And that was to be done in conjunction with the Library Drive project. So I'm sure they got a discount being that the trucks were there already. So my request is just to move that $5,000 over to Capital Improvement Fund and increase that line item. The parking deck fund, as I mentioned, touched on briefly earlier, it's our fund that we have to hold its hand. We need to support that fund with revenue from somewhere, and at budget time, there were many discussions of just where that money was going to come from. What the manager recommended, it was in the final total estimate, was to increase a little bit from TIFA 1, because it had the funding to support that. Decrease it from TIFA 2 because it does not have the funds, and increase the rest from the general fund of $110,000 and the special revenue fund land sales proceeds in the amount of $50,000. So these budget revisions are just to make sure that fund closes the year in a positive way. The sewer and water fund is doing very well. Its revenue is closing, like it's going to be, I think I said 100, no I didn't, 101 point something percent. So right on. The expenses for that fund are at 79%, which is great compared to the 83% that we should be. And there's only one department, transmission and distribution, that's at 91%, but it's not high enough to worry. We can, between all the different departments, we'll come in and fine at the end of the year. The problem with the sewer and water fund is usually cash. We're putting so much in debt service reserves, so much in our reserves for future improvements that cash runs short. So there's two things that are going to counteract that. One of them is that the MEDC grant received in the fall of over $1 million, that was to pay for prior fiscal year expenditures for year-end 6/30/14, $285,400. So at this point in time, I'm asking for that money to just be transferred out of capital projects fund and back into sewer and water. That'll help the cash. There's probably going to be a little more that we need to borrow from the depreciation reserves. The information systems fund, often called IT fund, is doing fine. It does not have any, I don't have any concern. It's at 62% for the operational budget. There was a little error on the fringe benefits that I discussed earlier with the DDA, but it has enough in other excess budget to cover that. The employee health care fund is doing all right, 89% of budget as of the end of April, and I don't expect it'll be a problem at year end. Are there any questions with all those last funds?
No, but it looks like you deal with numbers so much that it just comes natural to you, but there's a lot of information there which we've looked at over the budget process at the same time, so you're just covering a lot of ground that we've already covered, but it looks like most departments have stayed very well within budgeted parameters at midpoint of the fiscal year, and it's highly commendable consideration of the tight budget year.
Yes, the department heads are being very
Yeah.
careful, and, it's great. I really appreciate their efforts.
Okay.
So, and it's good to have that final total estimate at budget time. And, if anything looks out of whack at that time, we can take a look at it, but it was a good guide. So if there were any questions and you wanted to take a look at it.
Sure. So we need a motion at this point, to approve those transfers in and out that you're recommending that are on the sheet here.
Except for the LDFA.
Okay, yeah, and at this point, exclude the LDFA amounts. Okay. Commissioner Bauer.
So moved that we approve those budget amendments with the exception of the LDFA, which we will deal with at our next meeting.
Support. It's been supported. Are there any questions? Thank you very much, and it was really detailed. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Gage,
Yes.
Commissioner Bauer,
Yes.
Mayor Bosbus.
Yes.
Commissioner Twardy,
Yes.
Commissioner Shimmons,
Yes.
Commissioner Lynn,
Yes.
Commissioner Gary.
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you.
That concludes the city manager's report. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Number 8.
Sorry, but again, we're out of order.
No?
We're not voting in the right order.
What?
Oh, you mean on the order of how she calls the people?
Yeah.
Oh. Sometimes it's hard to judge. You can't-
it doesn't really matter
No,
because it's
no.
unanimous.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah,
mean?
right.
But I'm just saying
Yeah,
that,
Yeah. Okay.
you know what I mean?
She doesn't roll,
There's a
yeah.
set order
Set order
that
that, yeah, and,
that we're supposed to go by.
okay.
I'm sorry, I didn't know it was set. I'm sorry.
Yes, it normally just moves along and it decreases each time, and that person goes to the back, type of thing, but we'll have Robin explain that. Yeah, okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, so,
I'm sorry.
Great. Okay. So,
to keep me awake, you know.
the next item, number 8, status report.
Item A under status report pertains to the gift restroom facilities at Project Playground from the Rotary Club of Sault Ste. Marie. As explained in the memorandum, the Sault Ste. Marie Rotary Club is putting on its second annual Betsy's Rotary Game Show extravaganza with the goal of raising funds to construct restrooms at Project Playground and add funds to local scholarships. The plan is to use the same design as the restrooms designed for Rotary Park. The plans will be reviewed and updated and/or modified for the Project Playground site by UP engineers and architects, which performed the original design. The building construction is estimated to be about $40,000, for which the Rotary Club will contract for the construction with assistance and oversight being provided by the city. The game show extravaganza will be held at the Quad Dreammakers Theater on Saturday, June 13th, and there will be 4 chances to win a new car sponsored by O'Connor's, Fernelius, Rodenroth, and Sioux Motors, and many other prize opportunities. Many local businesses have donated items for prizes, and the MC for the evening will be Paul Van Wagoner. The cost of the tickets will be $35. They may be purchased at the Quaden box office or online at quaden.com. I'm very appreciative of this initiative and appreciate the Rotary Club's efforts.
Okay, any questions on that? I'm sure the Rotary Club will be out selling tickets to everyone in the community. So, okay, anything else? That concludes your...
It does. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Item number 9, matters presented by the public. Is there anyone in the audience who'd like to make a comment at this time? Hearing none, we'll move on to item number 10, matters presented by the City Commission. Commissioner Twardy.
Thank you. Just quick. I forgot to mention this at our last meeting, but the Kritzelis family just recently, on May 19th, celebrated the 95th year of the Alpha Bar being open, which I just think is amazing. So if you think about that in numbers. 7 days a week, other than like Christmas and Easter, And so in a couple of years, we'll be coming up on 100 years, and I think that'll be, we'll need to write a proclamation for that or something. But it's a very cool anniversary.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for those comments. Commissioner Bauer.
Yes, not this Wednesday, but the following Wednesday is the first installment of Music in the Park at Locks Park. That'll be at 7 o'clock, and Stars will be the opening act.
Stars, okay. Excellent.
They've been for about the past 5 or 6
Yeah,
years.
okay, excellent. Okay. Anyone else? Commissioner Gary.
I just wanted to remind the commission that this week, Thursday and Friday, is Michigan Municipal League's UP Education Summit, which is being held here in Sault Ste. Marie on Thursday and Friday, and there will be 60-some leaders from UP communities, so the public should keep their wallets in their pockets. A lot of politicians and community leaders, just kidding. But I think at the next meeting, we'll give a review of all of the events, and thanks to some of the sponsors, one of which is sitting at the table. So we'll have 60 people from the UP in town for 2 days, and it should be a very good event. And thank you to City Manager Turner, who's put a lot of work, time, and effort into planning this event.
Okay. Commissioner Gage.
I also want to remind the commission that all of us have been invited to a once-a-year event tomorrow evening. It's kind of late, but starting at 9 o'clock, the LSSU Aquatic Research Lab will be releasing its stock of Atlantic salmon. There's going to be 40,000 Atlantic salmon dropped into the St. Mary's tomorrow night.
Bring your hook, bring your fish line.
Yeah, bring your. Yeah. They're really small.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Yeah, you're not gonna have a good picture, you know. Maybe Bill Lynn would have one, but no, I'm just teasing. But we do it at night so late, simply because if we were to do it during the daytime, all the fish would get eaten by birds and other prey. And rumor has it that we might actually do a graduation ceremony for the fish this year. You know, some kind of, you know, make sure that they know they can always have a home here in Sault Ste. Marie, that kind of stuff, wherever they go, that kind of jazz. So it's going to be a great event, and I'd ask all the commissioners if you're able to come tomorrow night at 9 o'clock. The release is at 10. It's going to be a good time. So
At the east end of the...
At the east end of the power plant.
Cloverland Electric. Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Before we adjourn, I would certainly like to thank Jen for filling in for Robin. Excellent. I think people could hear you very well at home on each of the agenda items, so we appreciate that. Commissioner Lynn?
Can I abstain?
Not this time.
I would like to thank Dan Wires. I'm not sure after the comment earlier, but Friday, Dan gave me a key to the puller, and he had his staff leave the lights on. A writer from the Sioux Star from Sault, Ontario. I gave him a tour. He did an article when we started the project, and now he's going to do another one, which is, we're getting near the end, I think. We are. But,
getting close.
I played hockey with and against him. He's a goalie, and he's an excellent writer, and he too loves the puller, and he said he dressed in every dressing room we had there, and was impressed that we now have a female dressing room, shower, bath. We've done a lot of work to that place, and he was amazed. So that cost me dinner or two, but it's okay. But I'd just like to thank Dan.
Before you adjourn, though, too, I'd just like to tell Dan Wires also that I believe Commissioner Lynn was personal friends with Bishop Barriga. So
he converted me.
With that, Commissioner Lynn.
This is quite an evening. With that, Your Honor, I want to get out of here. I make a motion, we adjourn this meeting.
Support.
Been moved, supported. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. We are adjourned. Thank you very much.
All right, now what do I have to turn this thing on?